reckon this is the worst year of umpiring I've seen.
Yeah, I'm with you on this.
And I'm frustrated by it now.
Yeah.
And I think that we almost need to have a look at whether this 4-umpire system thing is working. We can't have 4 different opinions on the same event and expect to get consistency and clarity. I think we've lost our way totally.
Bit of fireballing. We thought we've just got the guy for this. Razor's Edge after 6 weeks of the season. Ray Chamberlain, welcome.
Good to be here, guys.
Is this the worst year of umpiring we've had?
Well, I went back into the history books and I Googled that question. And in 2003, the president of the Players Association, a colleague of mine, Peter Bell, he asked the same question, Gerard. So I think there's some commonality around that, and I think many tributaries make the Nile on any issue. So we'll unpack a few of those tonight, I guess.
It's consistent. It's, as Kingy said, consistency and clarity too much to ask for if we've got 4 umpires?
No, and I think we can unpack a little bit of that tonight. It was an interesting comment. We don't want 4 different opinions on one particular action, and thankfully that never occurs. And so we'll unpack a little bit of system and go through that a bit today.
All right, so show us why 4 is preferable to 3.
Yeah, so in my view, 4 is preferable to 3. We're going to see an example now where we miss a holding the ball free kick, and it's not because of 4. We don't do the 4 well, and we're going to have a look at that right now. If we had 3, we never see this free kick. Okay, so there's a fend off, so that equals prior opportunity. If we pause it there, you can see where our umpires are, and what's happened is the gentleman at the top of the screen, they need to push down to where the last feet are of the players, which is in the centre of the ground. The next umpire, who's on the square there, who's now gone, oops, he needs to be 35 metres across
to the right.
To where we're vulnerable, because the gentleman who's behind these players has their view obstructed.
Right. So that's a positioning thing.
We just didn't respond quick enough. It's 90 seconds after half time. There's a little technical element here. You can see where our umpire jogs through. So we have a switch of who's where. We've got an inexperienced umpire who's keen to get the play going. If he just takes a second longer, a bit calm, a bit more composed, it allows us to get into our spots, and maybe we have a better chance of getting that free kick right. So the system itself is superior to the 3 in terms of officiating accurately, but we need to implement it and we need to honour it accurately every time.
The priorities of what's being chosen at the moment. So your brethren have to learn how to measure distance. So this is the broken window. Don't make this mistake. Don't have a 50-metre penalty be 77 metres. That's where your brethren get held up to ridicule.
No, I couldn't agree more. So the first part of tonight, we're talking about things that are within their control, things that are within the umpiring group's control. In the last 2.5 years, this is new. So what would normally happen is that umpire would take the player the whole way and they'd own this. But now what you do is you hand it over to your colleague. Why? There's a number of reasons. One is that what didn't happen on this occasion, Gary, but what will happen is Dacos gets the ball and Bailey will often get in the road to try and be a bit smart and delay and what have you. And then we've run the risk of paying 100. So what the umpire who awards the 50, his responsibility is now to manage the initial 10 metres and clear Bailey out. And you'll see he does this really effectively. So this is a grand final umpire. He keeps his distance. He doesn't need to get in too close. Bailey will make his way up. And if you just train on that umpire, he will signal shortly to stay out, right? So he's done his role really well.
Can I jump in there?
Yep.
Bailey knows he's not allowed to go in there, Ray.
Yep.
The umpire doesn't have to tell him. Why should it be the umpire's job to tell Zach Bailey to not do something that he knows he shouldn't do? If he goes in there, give 100.
OK. So when there's 6 of them on the weekend...
I don't care if there's 20 of them.
No, I'm just saying, but when you come in...
Do you understand my frustration? You guys have got so... And I'm with you. You've got so many things that you've got to contemplate and get around. Worrying about what Zach Bailey does is not your concern at all. You're concerned about, is this 50 metres or is this 77 metres? That is my argument to that. And I don't want to be passionate about it for the sake of being passionate, but when you, as the umpire of your generation, turns around to me and says, that umpire there is, worrying about Zach Bailey, that to me goes, well, no wonder it's a bloody challenge.
And I'd refute that, Gary, by going, it is not that difficult for his colleague to be situationally aware and be able to get the 50 spot right.
The measure's one thing, but you don't have to tell Zach Bailey.
And that's your opinion, right?
It is.
And then there'll be other opinions that'll say part of officiating is to officiate and manage situations so that we don't have to impose ourselves all night.
As a commentator, I'm watching that, and we would say, if Zach Bailey's in that area, if he doesn't get out, then he gets exactly what he deserves. If you're coaching the under-16s or under-12s, Zach, go in there, Zachy boy, you know the rules here, keep yourself out. Not at this level.
Yep, that's okay. And you know what? There's a part of that I align with.
Strike me down.
The 15 metres has... So this is about priorities, I think. Has the crackdown been effective, worthwhile? Is it really something that should have been planted in the umpire's mind like this?
It's interesting. So I think the game wants to see the ball travel 15 metres. There's been no rule change, right? So it still only has to go 15. And so I don't understand why it is, because clearly what we're seeing on the field is a difference in how this is being implemented, when an umpire is paying a mark or when they are not. And I saw one that went 8 metres at best on the weekend and we award a mark. That's just an aberration, it's an error, it's a judgment error. This here, what we're seeing here, this example, this is policy. But if we look at the laws of the game, I've not seen a change. It still only has to be kicked to a teammate or an opposition player without being touched, caught and travelled 15 metres. So why are we dilly-daddling in that when we've got so many of these other opportunities that we can focus our attention on from a coaching and messaging perspective? And so that's not to do with the guys and girls who are on the field. That question I'm posing to those who are off the field.
Okay. We had the Rankin incident 2 weeks ago. I felt like we saw it again, the Tracy incident. And again, the free kick, all the mark wasn't paid.
Yeah, so and it's really interesting because I think what happens here, and I'd have to speak to the umpire to know. So I think you can almost pay a free kick for a block there, and then you definitely pay a free kick for holding the man here against Rivers. And I think potentially what's happened here is the umpire has been distracted by focusing on is that a mark or isn't it, and has lost the wood for the trees, Jared, and that's what's resulted in a decisional error.
It's a mistake.
It's just a blue.
Yeah. Blitzers. So the Hawthorn crowd was up here. Just make this our last one and walk us through this.
Yeah, so in this instance, I talked about many tributaries making the Nile in relation to Kingy's statement at the front and going back to 2003 when Peter Bell felt the same. So in this instance here, Blitzers has had no prior opportunity. He's legally tackled. So since 1948, all he is required to do is attempt to handball or kick. That's it. He doesn't have to successfully do it. He's just got to make a genuine attempt to handball or kick, and you can see that he does that. So because he's had no prior opportunity, that suffices. So it's not a free kick for holding the ball. Kingy, who's one of my favourites, he talked about him being red hot on dropping the ball. That isn't a rule, and it hasn't been for 80 years. Okay? So that is a perfect implementation of the laws of the game as the umpires are being instructed. So you've got areas where they're making blues that they can clean up themselves. And then I think we've got some noise where others need to potentially educate themselves as well if they're going to espouse a virtue.
All right, shoot one back. Razor, good man.
Little backhander on the way out from Razor.
Edge from Razor. Ray Chamberlain talking us through the umpiring of the day. Tomorrow, Premiership teammates, long-time coaches, contemporaries and friends. Simo and Horse set us up for what's to come next in this intriguing season.